Incorporated, makers of America's most enjoyable candy bars, bring you another half hour of fun with your genial master of wit and information, Dr. IQ, the mental banker. And now, here is that wise man with the friendly smile and the cash for your IQ. Mr. Anthony, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My assistance to station, which will enable members of the theater audience to remain in their seats while answering the questions I ask.
Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Please carry my loved one home safely to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bon Delise, radio's first song sensation, with next year's styles and songs as up to the minute as tomorrow's newspaper.
No, Nicky, darling, that's not it.
It isn't, Laura?
No, it goes like this. 33 fine brews blended into one great beer.
Blue Ribbon.
From New York City, we bring you the Lifebuoy program starring Al Jolson with Park Your Carcass and our special guest stars Gail Patrick and Connie Boswell with Lud Gluskin and his orchestra.
The Adventures of...
From New York City, we bring you the Lifebuoy program starring Al Jolson with Park Your Carcass and our special guest stars Gail Patrick and Connie Boswell with Lud Gluskin and his orchestra.
The Adventures of...
And his orchestra.
The Adventures of Sam Spade, Detective. Brought to you by Wild Root Cream Oil Hair Tonic.
Sam Spade Detective Agency.
Hello, sweetheart. It's only me.
Oh, Sam, why so modest?
If you will just contain your natural feminine curiosity for a few moments, I'll be right down to dictate my report on the bow window kick.
Presenting Dr.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bon Delise, radio's first song sensation, with next year's styles and songs as up to the minute as tomorrow's newspaper.
No, Nicky, darling, that's not it.
It isn't, Laura?
No, it goes like this. 33 fine brews blended into one great beer.
Blue Ribbon. Ladies and gentlemen, Bon Delise, radio's first song sensation, with next year's styles and songs as up to the minute as tomorrow's newspaper.
No, Nicky, darling, that's not it.
It isn't, Laura?
No, it goes like this. 33 fine brews blended into one great beer.
Blue Ribbon. Presenting Dr. IQ. Mars Incorporated, makers of America's most enjoyable candy bars, bring you another half hour of fun with your genial master of wit and information, Dr. IQ, the mental banker. And now, here is that wise man with the friendly smile and the cash for your IQ.
Mr. Anthony, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My assistance to station, which will enable members of the theater audience to remain in their seats while answering the questions I ask.
Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Please carry my loved one home safely to me.
New Adventures of the Thin Man with Nick and Nora Charles, the happiest, merriest married couple in radio. Claudia Morgan as Nora and Les Tremaine as Nick in tonight's adventure of the Thin Man, entitled The Adventure of the Passionate Palooka.
There he goes, into that drugstore. He's stepping on the scales. Weight, 237 pounds. Fortune, danger. Into that drugstore. He's stepping on the scales. Weight, 237 pounds. Fortune, danger. Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Just listen to our pets. They're calling your pets from wits about it.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mystery. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host to welcome you in through the squeaking door to another half hour of horror. Come in, won't you? Sit down. I hope you'll forgive me if I don't get up, but I'm terribly tired. I spent last night with a friend who's a book collector, specializes in bestsellers. He certainly showed me some interesting ones. In fact, he tried to bury me in one. Because all the very bestsellers have corpses in them.
Presents The New Adventures of the Thin Man with Nick and Nora Charles, the happiest, merriest married couple in radio. Claudia Morgan as Nora and Les Tremaine as Nick in tonight's adventure of the Thin Man, entitled The Adventure of the Passionate Palooka.
There he goes, into that drugstore. He's stepping on the scales. Weight, 237 pounds. Fortune, danger. Into that drugstore. He's stepping on the scales. Weight, 237 pounds. Fortune, danger. Who is it?
The Fat Man.
Just listen to our pets. They're calling your pets from... Just listen to our pets. They're calling your pets from coast to coast. Hello, everyone. This is Jess Kirkpatrick speaking for Hearts Not Set. Hello, everyone. This is Jess Kirkpatrick speaking for Hearts Not Set. You believe me when I say these are real live canaries in the studio.
The march of time. Time, the weekly news magazine, takes you to the war front and the home front. to bring you news in the making, the people who make the news, and the men and women of Time magazine who report the news. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Westbrook. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Westbrook Van Boris speaking for the editors of Time magazine.
Now, to the many friends who wait for him, we present Just Plain Bill, barber of Hartville, the story of a man who might be living right next door to you. The real-life story of people just like people we all know.
Rogers in the 25th century. And a shower of silver dollars from Popsicle Pete's money box.
Buck Rogers, who was held in suspended animation for 500 years and is now adventuring in the amazing world of the 25th century. By turning a little dial to project us ahead in time, we're able to be right with Buck and his friends in the wonderful world of the future. A world that sees a lot of our scientific and mechanical dreams come true. You know, there's nothing supernatural or mystic about Buck. He's just an ordinary, normal human being who keeps his wits about him.
You are isolated on a remote plantation in the crawling Amazon jungle, and an immense army of ravenous ants is closing in on you, swarming in to eat you alive. A deadly black army from which there is no escape. We offer you Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Tonight, we escape to the Amazon jungle and to a creeping, crawling terror, as Carl Stevenson told it in his famous story, Leiningen versus the Ants. There's Molly, folks. That means your friends, the Goldbergs, are here.
Time now for Young Winter Brown, brought to you today by the makers of Arrow Wax. Time now for Young Winter Brown, brought to you today by the makers of Arrow Wax.
In Michael Forsythe's hotel room, Evan Brown has spoken words which Michael has hoped she would speak ever since he fell in love with her months ago, after Dr. Anthony Loring believed a lie about her and discarded her and was tricked into marriage by his wife Millicent. For Evan has just said to Michael,
Brave Tomorrow. Brave Tomorrow, the story of love and courage, written by Ruth Adams Knight and brought to you by Ivory Snow.
And now, for the dramatic story of John's other wife. dramatic story of John's other wife. Elizabeth, the young wife of handsome 35-year-old John Perry, is going to have a baby. Has been told by Dr. Ferguson that she must not shoulder any worries. But the worries have come thick and fast. 100 employees, fired from the Perry department store at the instigation of John's partner, Ridgway Turl, and the beautiful foreign decorator, Marina Marinoff, rioted, led by a man named Timmons, and stoned John, and now John lies ill with an ugly gash in his head. Elizabeth it was who put down the riot. Elizabeth it was who rehired the employees in John's name and persuaded the now repentant Ridge to clear John of any blame. But John believes that the clever and unscrupulous Marina saved him, and he quarrels with Elizabeth on this account and suffers a relapse. Elizabeth, exhausted and frightened, calls the doctor. 15 minutes later, as the clock strikes 9, Dr. Ferguson arrives.
To all the big night spots of New York town, to hear the top songs of the week sung so clearly you can understand every word and sing them yourself. And now,
This is Dick Tracy on the case of the broken window. Stand by for action. Let's go, man.
yes, it's Dick Tracy, protector of law and order. The solid silver with beauty that lives forever is International Sterling. From Hollywood, International Silver Company, creators of International Sterling, presents The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, starring America's favorite young couple, Ozzie Nelson and Harriet Hilliard.
The makers of Wrigley's Spearmint Chewing Gum invite you to enjoy Life with Luigi, a comedy show created by Cy Howard, directed by Mac Benoff, and starring that celebrated actor, Mr. J. Carroll Nash, with Alan Reed as Pasquale.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce.
The shadow of Fu.
The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce.
The shadow of Fu Manchu. Based on the stories by Sax Roma.
from the sketchbook of Robert L. Ripley. And here speaking for Bob Ripley is the Dean of Newsreel Commentators, Gregory Adams.
Thanks, Bill Griffiths, and welcome everyone to Bob Ripley's Radio Auditorium, a collection of amazing facts discovered by Bob Ripley in his never-ending search for the truth. The truth which is always more unbelievable than fiction.
As only he can sing them. This electrically transcribed program by the one and only whispering baritone is brought to you by Ironized Yeast, the new yeast, vitamin B, and iron tablets through which people everywhere who are thin and run down because they need these vital elements are gaining new naturally attractive pounds, new energy, new health.
Mighty glad to hear, I reckon, that the makers of Grape Nuts Flakes, that's America's most famous cereal in flake form, are going to bring you America's most famous cowboy. Hard-riding, hard-hitting, hard to beat, everybody's favorite, Buck Jones.
Again, the romance of Helen Trent.
Bold Venture. Bold Venture. Adventure, intrigue, mystery, romance, starring Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall, together in the sultry setting of tropical Havana and the mysterious islands of the Caribbean. Bold Venture.
Washington calling counter spy. Washington calling counter spy. Harding, counter spy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Counter Spy. Cobra and Japan its Black Dragon. But matched against all of these secret enemy agents are Uncle Sam's highly trained counter spies. Visualize ace counter spy of them all as David Harding.
4:30 Sunday afternoon in New York, and the RCA building now stands up straight and respectfully removes its hat as we tune in on another concert by the no doubt world-renowned Chamber Music Society of Lower Basin Street, whose members have gathered here to read from the classics of the 3 Bs, Battle House, Wookie Wookie, and the Blues.
We're privileged to have as our special guests the celebrated Tennessee prima donna, Mademoiselle Dinah Diva Shore, who sings at the drop of a hat and who drops her own hat, and Dr. Ferdinand Jelly Roll Morton. The Columbia Broadcasting System presents a new comedy. The Columbia Broadcasting System presents a new comedy.
My Friend Irma.
Starring Marie Wilson as Irma and Kathy Lewis as Jane, with John Brown as Al.
Friendship, friendship, just a perfect friendship. When other friendships have been forgot, theirs will still
Adventures of the Saint, starring Vincent Price. The Saint, based on characters created by Leslie Charteris and known to millions from books, magazines, and motion pictures. The Robin Hood of modern crime now comes to radio, starring Hollywood's brilliant and talented actor Vincent Price as The Saint. Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola presents The Spike Jones Show with Spike and the City Slickers, including Doodles Weavers, Professor Beetlebaum, George Rock, Dick and Freddie Morgan, Sir Frederick Gass, Jack Dolly, Dr. Horatio Q. Birdbath, and our special guest, Don Amici.
Pride in presenting Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air, dramatizing famous narratives by great authors. This is the first time that a complete theatrical producing company has been brought to radio. Every week, Orson Welles invites our listeners to suggest their favorite titles. And tonight, the Mercury Theater on the air presents...
Riding hard. It's time for excitement and adventure. Here they come. They're riding fast and they're riding hard. It's time for excitement and adventure in the modern West with Bobby Benson and the B-Bar-B Riders. And out in front, astride his golden Palomino amigo, it's the cowboy kid himself, Bobby Benson. Adventure, The Three Wise Monkeys. Hal Kemp on the air for Griffin.
It's time to shine. Shine your shoes and you wear a smile. Shine your shoes and you be in style. Sun shines east, sun shines west. Griffin polish shines the best. Some folks are not particular how they look around the feet. If they wear shoes upon their heads, to make sure they look neat, so just keep your shoes shine. Griffin all the time, Griffin time is the time to shine. When you hear this familiar chime,